pay installment. Dia tidak dapat bayar installment tu on time. So risk that might occur is credit risk. If the payment is made full settlement, then no further risk. So kita tahu dalam murabahah, risk yang akan occur, that possible risk that might occur are market risk and credit risk. Okay. And then next is salam. Salam is what is salam? Yang berkait dengan agriculture. Advance payment. The bank pay in full the money to the farmer, for example. And the farmer will deliver the commodity later in future date with a specific criteria of the commodity of the produce lah. So now at the beginning of transaction, there is no risk as the bank give cash at the beginning of the transaction. However, during the transaction period, okay, sekarang ni bank dah bayar duit, but the supplier failed to supply the product. So there is a market risk involved because the price of the commodity might change. Okay. So kalau supplier fail to supply, buyer dah tunggu. And then the price has been set. When the supplier fail to supply, there is a change of market price. It will affect the profit that is aimed at the beginning. So at the end of the transaction, if I have no ready party to buy, katakan supplier dah hantar sayur dan sebagainya, tetapi tidak ada ready party to buy, ready buyer. So the bank will again start with the produce and exposed to storage cost and market risk. Okay. Mungkin harga produk tersebut akan menurun lah because of the quality will be reduced when it is stored in longer period. Okay. If you have a problem or questions, you boleh tanya terus ya. If not, I will proceed. And then istisna. Istisna, what is istisna? Apa dia istisna?
Manufacturing sale.
Manufacturing, yeah. For example, the contract between contractor and the buyer, yeah. So that involve, for example, in the construction or building a house and so on, highway and so on. So at the beginning of the transaction, selection of subcontractor. And then during the transaction period, for example, when the cost of production increase and buyer decline to accept or default payment, so kalau sekiranya in the process of constructing or building a house, the cost of production increase, so probably the market risk will occur because of the market risk because of the change of the material, for example, bricks, cements and so on. Okay, and katakan juga buyer decline to accept asset. Okay, rumah dah siap tapi dia tidak terima produk tersebut ataupun rumah tersebut, okay, the price might change. Okay, that is when the market risk will occur. Okay, and then default payment after the asset has been delivered, ataupun bukan delivered lagi ya. Dia akan bayar installment ya, based on the stage of completion of the construction. If there is any default payment, that is when credit risk occur. Okay. During the conclusion of transaction, no risk if asset delivered and payment received. Yeah? So in istisna, generally, the risks that might occur are market risk and credit risk. Okay. Mudarabah. Okay. The beginning of the transactions, adverse selection, information asymmetry, counterparty risk. This is when you can relate this to agency theory lah. Sebab rabu mal yang bagi duit, that contribute capital to the investment, to the business, but the mudarib is the one who manage the business. So it means the information about the business the mudarib know more about the business as compared to rabu mal. So there is a problem of information asymmetry. Okay, and then maybe they have different objective. Mudarib different objective, rabu mal different objective. Okay. And then conclusion of transaction is untruthful reporting, counterparty risk, meaning mudarib maybe provide untruthful reporting, saying that the business is not profitable, tapi sebenarnya dia profit. Yeah? Sebab kalau mudarabah, kalau dapat loss, it is borne by rabu mal. Okay, so mungkin dia akan kata tidak dapat profit. Okay? Tapi sebenarnya dapat profit, tapi dia nak ambil keseluruhan profit tersebut and do not want it to share with the rabu mal. Okay. And then musyarakah, similar issues happen as in mudarabah, where issues of adverse selection, moral hazard, information asymmetry happen. Okay. Because even though musyarakah is a partnership where profit and loss occur, tapi kalau in investment, in for example in the financing for business, okay, let's say the bank is the rabu mal and the entrepreneur is bukan rabu mal, the bank and the rabu mal put or invest the money together, but they do not manage the business together. The bank will appoint the customer as an agent to manage the business. Okay. So the business, the customer lah adalah orang yang lebih tahu berkenaan dengan business tersebut as compared to the bank. And then conclusion of transaction is depending on type of asset, counterparty and market risk. Okay. If it is musyarakah mutanakisah used in purchasing the house, so if there is any issues of in managing the house or managing the business, okay, the price of the house or the rate in the market will change. Okay. And then part 4 is the FSB guideline on risk management for the IFI. Okay. So kita dah tengok dah FSB, okay, that address risk management tool and approach in IFI. The risk management system and process involved table 13.10. Okay. The functions of the board is to set the overall objective, and the duty is to define the overall objective and ensure its implementation by the management. Yeah? So the board mesti setkan policy in order to manage the risk effectively. And then the management set up the risk management system and identify risks and implement the objective and policy set by the board. Okay. And then third, the risk management identify and measure risk and set standard rules, guideline, procedure related to risk. Publish various risk report periodically. Okay. And then all operational unit identify and control risk and comply with the standard that has been set by the risk management. Okay. So the board set policy, management set up the system untuk comply dengan polisi yang telah ditetapkan oleh board, and then risk management set up the standard that in line with the system set by the management, and then all operational unit ni comply lah with the standards that has been set by the risk management unit. Okay. And then lastly, the internal audit will ensure all the risk related guidelines and policies are being followed. Okay. It is pointless if there is available policy, system, standard, guidelines and so on, tapi operational unit dia tak follow. So internal audit come to check whether all guidelines and policy are being followed. Okay. And risk mitigation, refer to table 13.11. Later I will share with you. But basically, ini yang dah disimplified. Basically, dia cover 4 heading on how to, what are the strategy and policy, structure and process, measuring and reporting, and monitoring and mitigating. Dia ada 4 perkara di sini lah. Ya. 1, 2, 3, 4 setiap satu. Nanti saya akan share. And the issues and opportunities and challenges in risk management, of course, by the legal and regulatory infrastructure, the liquidity risk, lack of standardized contract, perceptions of stakeholder about the effectiveness of risk management, personnel risk, okay, and the management information system. Okay. So this is table 13.11 on FSB risk management principles. Okay. For specific risk, okay. For example, credit risk. Okay. Tadi kita dah tengok, kalau ditanya example of situation where credit risk might happen. Okay. So you mungkin boleh refer di sini. Murabahah tadi, credit risk occur in murabahah during the transaction period. Okay. And istisna when there is a default payment to the contractor, so credit risk. Okay. So, how actually we want to manage credit risk? For example, kita ambil satu je lah ya. Contoh tadi, murabahah. Okay. So, the bank should have set the strategy or the credit strategy, the credit policies, what are the conditions for the applicants for financing, for example. Okay. And then the process, credit risk management structure, operational procedure, due diligence process, a credit management system. Okay, how actually they want to screen the most eligible candidates to award financing. And then in measuring and reporting, there should be appropriate measure and reporting methods of risk exposure. Okay, the report, for example, the payment, whether the customer commit to the installment on they pay on time or not. Okay, and then in mitigating and monitoring system risk mitigating, remedial action in case of distress, risk in parallel contract. Mungkin if the customer unable to pay, they will do rescheduling ke, restructuring ke, to avoid credit risk happen. Okay. So the question might combine, biasanya dia akan combine kalau dalam vehicle financing, risk apa yang akan occur. Okay, so you akan sebut vehicle financing, apply murabahah, and then you cerita pula dalam murabahah 3 stages tadi, apa yang risk yang might occur. For example, market risk, and then at the beginning, and credit risk during the transaction. In order for the bank to manage market risk, okay, ini yang dia kena buat, market risk. Kena ada strategi, kena ada framework for pricing, valuation and income recognition, a strong management information system to report, and strong management information system to control and monitor. For example, dia akan manage harga pasaran kereta dan sebagainya, so that the profit rate yang ditentukan tu boleh cover the expected change of price of the car. Okay, so ini market risk. And then credit risk yang tadilah, boleh cerita yang sama. Okay. Ataupun soalan, how actually the bank manage risk that might occur when the bank award home financing to customer. So maybe you akan pilih home financing, maybe you akan pilih istisna. Okay, so you cerita pula dalam istisna, apakah risk that might occur, market risk, credit risk. Okay, so you terangkan macam mana nak manage market risk tadi dan credit risk. Biasa macam tu lah. Okay, any question about risk? Okay, Kalau tak ada soalan, saya akan sambung dengan auditing lah. Kita take 5 and then continue with audit. So that you can have an idea on how to answer annual report analysis relate kepada audit. Sekejap ya, I'm sharing with you the slide. Okay, ada dapat slide dalam WhatsApp?
Ada.
Ada
Okay. So yang audit ni untuk textbook ni cuma ada sedikit sahaja pages yang cerita pasal audit. Okay. That's why I dah cakap awal sem the book that I beli online USIM Sharia Audit and Assurance Process and Program. We are not going to cover all, tapi yang mana yang ada dalam slide ni maksudnya you can read further in this book lah. Okay. Sebab kalau kita nak cover semua macam boleh jadi satu course lah. Fokus audit sahaja ya. Kalau untuk student cohort baru, yang syllabus baru tu, dia akan ambil audit lah. Dan AUD688 ni akan post. Ya. So mungkin I'm tak sure next time mungkin ada lagi AUD688. Lepas tu dah tak ada lah, tak ada takers lah. So you kena settlekan lah ya. Tak pernah lagi yang fail subjek ni ya. Okay. Jangan you pula yang nak pecah rekod ya. So auditing and Sharia supervision of Islamic financial institution. Okay. It is more comprehensive slide because I'm actually preparing for the new code lah. Yeah? The new code is AUD699. Okay. So it cover on introduction, IPPF and COSO, prudential guidelines on Sharia audit, scope, objective, process. Proses dia adalah planning, execution, reporting. Samalah satu cycle bila you belajar audit kan. And then code of ethics very much related to IOF and then issues. Okay. So when we talk about Sharia audit, it can be traced back to the time of Prophet Muhammad SAW and the first 4 caliph with the practice of hisbah. Dia ada di masa urus niaga yang dijalankan pada waktu itu, ada muhtasib yang dia akan check on whether the businesses, the businessmen following the rules of measurement and so on, timbangan dan sebagainya. So itu adalah concept of hisbah, and the person who ensuring it is in compliance tu adalah muhtasib. So hisbah literally means to account, to compute and to measure. Was expected to be assessed by a group of officers of the ruler known as mustasib in order to observe, control and prevent fraud activities to customer in the marketplace. So dulu-dulu di zaman Nabi Muhammad SAW pun telah ada these functions which this can be related to audit. Biasanya kalau kita sebut Syariah audit ataupun Islamic audit, they will normally relate that to hisbah. Okay. The practice of hisbah is fardu kifayah, which each Muslim has a duty to promote good deeds and restrain from wrongdoing. So, in the context of Islamic banking, muhtasib is akin to having good governance and auditor. Okay. Kalau in terms of Malaysia, muhtasib ni kita boleh relatekan kepada Jabatan Audit Negara, kita boleh relatekan kepada polis, department, PDRM dan sebagainya. Okay. To ensure or to prevent fraud activities. Okay. So in terms of banking, kita boleh kaitkan dengan good governance and auditor. Okay. So hisbah literally means to anticipate God's reward, denounce other personal wrongful behavior, contemplate by considering the possibility of its outcome, and to calculate, estimate and take into account. So technically, ini literally, ini technically means enjoining what is right when it is found to be neglected, and forbidding what is wrong when it is found to be practiced. Okay. To Imam Ghazali, hisbah is a comprehensive expression for the duty of enjoining good and forbidding evil. Maksudnya kita nak mengelakkan daripada fraud happen, that is when we can relate that to hisbah. Okay. What is Syariah audit? Now I am actually referring to the SGF 2010. Okay. It is a periodical assessment conducted from time to time. Dia ada periodic lah. Cycle dia berapa kali. To provide an independent assessment and objective assurance designed to add value and improve the degree of compliance in relation to IFI business operation, with the main objective of ensuring a sound and effective internal control for Syariah compliance. Okay, sebab Syariah audit, it is performed by, in Malaysia, Syariah audit for Islamic financial institution is performed by internal audit. So internal audit, very much their roles and responsibility is to make sure that the institution have an effective internal control system. And when it is Syariah audit, means internal Syariah audit to ensure a sound and effective internal control system for Syariah compliance. Okay. So examination of IFI compliance with Syariah in all activities. Financial statement, ni scope dia lah ni. Financial statement, operational, okay, technology, operational processes, people, documentation, contract, policies and procedure and other activities that require adherence to Syariah principles. End to end. Semua segi. Kita, when we say Syariah compliant, it does not mean comply in certain area and do not comply in other area. Kalau nak cakap comply with Syariah, comply lah semuanya. Okay? Tak ada lah. Contoh macam kalau kita kata rasuah. Rasuah RM100 tak adalah besar sangat berbanding dengan rasuah RM500,000 contoh. Tapi itu masih lagi dikira rasuah lah. Okay, no matter how much is the amount. Okay. For audit, the scope all include financial statement, processes, people, IT, governance, Okay. Why conventional audit is inadequate? Because of the limited scope. Dia tidak tengok kepada scope yang relate kepada syariah compliant. For them, if it is following the standard, walaupun dia tidak syariah compliant pun dikira accepted. But for syariah audit, it is derived from the basic of value of Islamic society and Sharia principle. Okay. It is needed to ensure corporate as well as Sharia governance are upheld to ensure Sharia compliance. Basically, to ensure Sharia compliance lah, and then to gain confidence from the stakeholder. Why there is a need for Sharia audit is to for the Islamic bank to incorporate Islamic value, especially to their stakeholder as the users. Okay, and then reliable model and proper strategy of Islamic banking encourage the implementation of robust and efficient corporate governance within the Islamic environment. Okay. You know the importance of having good governance. If not, kita dah tengok dah on the example of collapse of business because of weak corporate governance. So in ensuring that the good governance happen, it is when audit comes into the picture. Okay. The landscape of Islamic banking can no longer be a mirror of conventional bank. Okay. Islamic bank have an array of stakeholders such as investment account holder, shareholder. The stakeholder theory is more relevant to Islamic banking. Each of the stakeholder has interest, and then they aim for Sharia compliance. That's why there is a need to have Sharia audit. Operational audit dia tidak cover syariah element. Yeah. And then one measure to safeguard the interest of the stakeholder, as mentioned, is by ensuring syariah compliant. Okay. So syariah audit is vital as it is responsible to report on syariah compliance and non-compliance, assess the degree of non-compliance and its effect on the bank as a whole, beside recommending applicable corrective action, improvement and rectification. Dia boleh buat recommendation lah. Okay. Dia hanya Sharia audit function is only to report on whether it is in compliance or not. Kalau tak comply pun kena report juga, so that Syariah committee can discuss and issue decision or deliberation on how to do the corrective action. So even though Syariah audit ini ada untuk check sama ada comply dengan syariah ataupun tidak, the ultimate decision comes from Syariah committee. Macam mana nak kira balik non-compliance income dan sebagainya, decision dia mestilah datang daripada Syariah committee. Okay. So who are the Syariah auditor? So Sharia auditor is performed by internal auditor lah kalau di Malaysia. Kita tidak ada lagi external Sharia auditor for Islamic bank. Ada internal Sharia auditor. And then internal auditor, background dia adalah accounting lah. Okay. Accounting, but accounting graduate who has sufficient knowledge on syariah. Okay. Syariah, muamalat, yang fiqh related knowledge. Okay. So, qualification of syariah auditor ni sama saja dengan auditor yang lain lah. Cuma macam saya cakap tadi, must have sufficient knowledge in Syariah. They are not required to have certificate. Macam dia kena ada Bachelor of Syariah ke, tak perlu. Macam dia kena ada ambil 2 pula, Bachelor kan, degree kan. Accounting and Syariah, tidak ya. Yang kena ada adalah degree in accounting. Syariah tu adalah additional knowledge yang dia kena ada. Okay. Maybe it is set like that because in Malaysia there are not much programs that offer twinning ataupun joining degree ke yang ada Syariah dan accounting. So the roles and responsibility of Syariah auditor can be referred to the prominent standard setters, IFSB, IOFI, and then from the Bank Negara Malaysia. Okay. However, let's say, bukan however ya, some banks ya, dalam bila you perform audit, you kan pernah juga ada pengalaman perform audit. When you perform audit, you will perform audit in a team. So for Islamic banking, some of Islamic banking in their Sharia audit team, there are accounting graduates. There are also Sharia graduates yang works together in a team. Sharia graduates which have who has knowledge on muamalat. Yeah? So when we say that Sharia audit in Malaysia is performed by internal audit, ya. Kita dapat ambil paper internal audit ya, tapi belajar juga sedikit berkenaan dengan internal audit. Internal auditor has their own prudential guideline, which is the IPPF. Ada tak dekat sini IPPF? International Professional Practices Framework. Tak tahu lah. This is like their main references, for internal audit, issued by the Institute of Internal Auditors Global. Okay, so sama saja Sharia auditor, internal Sharia auditor, dia akan refer kepada guideline yang sama, framework yang sama. Okay. IPPF and COSO framework. COSO nanti I sebutkan ya. COSO is the Committee of Sponsoring Organisation, COSO framework, which is the internal control mechanism and guideline for internal audit. Okay. So COSO design is a guideline to design and implement internal control to manage risk rather than eliminate it. It can be used to assess and improve internal control system. Internal control is broadly defined as a process affected by the entity's board of director, management and other personnel. It is designed to provide reasonable assurance with regards to the achievement of institution's objective. Okay, so the internal auditor will refer to COSO framework in order for them to perform audit, and also in order for them to plan, to prepare the audit plan. Audit planning, kalau you dah buat, kalau you nak pergi buat audit, tu yang paling penting kan. You buat prepare audit plan, you follow the audit plan, where you have the audit program, siapa yang nak kena audit, apa yang nak kena audit, okay. And then you want to refer to which guidelines and so on, okay. So components of internal control in COSO framework include monitoring to review and manage control system, to look at the control activities to address identified risks, identification and analysis of relevant risks, control environment setting the tone at the top, and information and communication. Okay, the components of internal control ni is very comprehensive, and it does not has any issue that they might conflict with Sharia. So that's why Sharia audit also refer to COSO framework in performing their work. Maksudnya kalau dia nak buat audit tu, dia tengok organisation yang tersebut ada tak monitoring, ada tak control activities, ada tak risk assessment yang dibuat, ada tak apa-apa control environment ataupun set up ataupun instruction from the top, is information and communication in place. So dia akan refer kepada COSO framework to perform audit. And then IPPF is a guideline. Sharia audit process could follow the IPPF as outlined by the Institute of Internal Auditor, which are provided in its performance standard. Okay, dalam content dia, dalam standard ni ada purpose, authority and responsibility, independence and objectivity, proficiency and professional care, quality assurance and improvement program, managing internal audit activity, nature of work, engagement planning, performing the engagement, communicating results, monitoring progress, communicating the acceptance risk. Okay. So content here, we are not going to look further on each of it, but you can have a look at ni dalam link ni. Okay, the attribute standard. Okay, independence, on independence and proficiency, quality assurance. Ini coding dia lah ya. Okay. So prudential guideline on Sharia audit. Okay. So you know already if we discuss about governance, kita akan refer kepada Sharia governance framework. Kita akan refer kepada FSB 3, FSB 10. And then when we talk about risk management, we will refer to the FSB risk management guideline issued in 2005. Okay. For Sharia audit, we are going to refer to the FSB also number 3 and number 10. And IOFI number 6 on excellent Sharia audit governance standard ni. Kita akan refer kepada audit standard, governance standard. Okay. And also Syariah governance policy by negara Malaysia dalam part audit lah. So you know already that this is a two-tier Syariah governance in Malaysia. Okay, first Syariah Advisory Council in Bank Negara Malaysia. Second is Syariah Committee at the individual bank level. Okay. So scope. Ini yang saya dah sebutkan tadi. Okay, financial, structure, people, process, IT, governance, ini scope dia. Okay. So for financial, dia akan tengok on capital, investment, treasury, source of income, source of finance, equity, debt, investment, okay, hedging, mechanism, okay. Compliance audit, auditor we look at observations of prohibitions of riba in the process. Sequence dia kena betul. Kita kena bank kena beli dulu kereta tersebut baru boleh jual. Kalau dalam vehicle financing that use murabahah. So tidak boleh jual dulu kepada customer sebelum bank membeli kereta tersebut. Sebab in Islam kita tak boleh jual apa yang kita tidak miliki lah. So, and then provisions of riba, fulfillment of contract sequence dia, proper use of muamalat concept, ya, loan ke financing, kena betul terms yang digunakan, ya. Satisfy the maqasid syariah. Okay. And then in terms of governance, look at the roles, functions and reporting channels. Ya. Sebab mungkin syariah compliance dan compliance happen not because they simply do not want to comply, but maybe because of the information is not properly disseminated. Okay, mungkin governance dia tak, functions reporting line dia tak clear. Sebab tu information tu tak sampai. That's why there is a need for them to look or review of adequacy of Sharia governance process. Okay. And then the objective of Sharia, of course, to ensure Sharia compliance. Okay. This is looking at the board roles to ensure they have done their supervisions, monitoring and issuing legal rulings. Okay. This is what I've mentioned just now. A proper dissemination of information and internal Syariah compliance review should happen. Okay, mungkin Syariah committee tu dia dah buat decision, tapi decision and deliberation tu tak sampai kepada operational unit. Okay. Okay, ini adalah established criteria, meaning Sharia auditor must observe the IFI adherence to following set. Ya. Bila dia perform audit tu, dia kena comply lah dengan Acts, IFSA 2013, kena comply dengan guideline and circular, kena comply dengan resolution guideline by SAC, Bank Negara and Sharia Committee of their individual bank. Ya. To comply with the Syariah Manual, ini Syariah Advisory Council of Bank Negara Malaysia and Securities Commission, Securities Commission. And to comply with the resolution of Syariah Committee and IFI Syariah Manual. Kalau they have available manual, for example, on murabahah, mudarabah, tawaruk, okay, so kena comply. These are the established criteria. Macam dia macam repeat lah daripada yang first ni. So kena comply dengan resolution Syariah Committee, Syariah Advisory BNM, Syariah Advisory Securities Commission, pronouncement and manual. Okay. Comparison of Syariah review and Syariah audit. Okay. If you still remember about Sharia governance framework, bank are required to set 4 functions. Sharia risk, Sharia research, Sharia review, Sharia audit. At the beginning of the announcement, practitioners tu bising juga. Kenapa nak kena ada Sharia audit pula sedangkan kita dah ada Sharia review? Okay. Thus, their responsibility different. Okay, semuanya kan nak memastikan Syariah compliant. Yeah? So that's why we need to understand why there is a different functions of Sharia review and Sharia audit. Sharia review is performed by Sharia scholars. Ustaz-ustaz dalam ni. Sharia audit by auditors lah. Okay. Sharia review, regular assessment. Sharia audit, periodical assessment. Dia kena ada audit plan. Ya. In a year, kita akan audit bahagian yang mana. Okay. Roles and responsibility to examine and evaluate IFI level of compliance, remedial rectification to resolve non-compliance problem. Performed by internal audit. Sharia audit is performed by internal audit. Okay. Syariah review dia akan involve sekali lah dalam proses untuk membantu to resolve the issue because they are the expert, dia orang syariah, dia boleh bagi cadangan, boleh turut serta bekerjasama dengan auditi untuk memastikan proses tu adalah syariah compliant. Okay. But Sharia audit, dia independence. They do not involve with the process. Okay. Scope cover overall business. Sharia audit yang tadilah. Saya dah cakap tadi. Process, planning, documentation, communicate the outcome, result to Syariah committee. Audit process, samalah. Bila you perform audit, dah tahu proses dia to understand the business, to develop audit program, perform audit, communicate result to Syariah committee and provide recommendation. And then these are the differences between statutory audit and internal Syariah audit. Kalau dalam annual report, of course statutory audit dia akan ada audit report kan, sama ada the financial statement give true and fair view. What types of report, audit report, qualified, unqualified, diverse dan sebagainya. Okay. So conventional or statutory audit provide assurance on the fairness of financial statement. Okay. Sharia audit, definition dia dah tahu tadi. Scope, financial statement and related control. Scope, you dah tahu yang tadi. Okay. So statutory audit performed by external auditor. Sharia audit performed by internal auditor. Okay. So framework, statutory audit, conventional audit framework lah. Okay. Sharia audit, there is no specific or proper framework. Tidak ada Syariah audit framework. After the issuance of Syariah governance framework, Bank Negara Malaysia and practitioners and lecturers work together to come up with sub of Syariah governance framework. Dia nak come out dengan Syariah audit framework sebagai sub kepada Syariah governance framework. Tetapi when they do the discussions and so on, they are saying that the existing audit framework yang konvensional tu boleh diguna pakai. There is no need to come up with a new Sharia audit framework. I dah pernah tengok Sharia audit framework tu. Kalau kita tengok tu macam content dia lebih kurang sama macam dalam IPPF tu lah ya. So that's why sampai sekarang tidak ada apa-apa Sharia audit framework lah. Absence of Sharia audit framework. So they refer to the existing guidelines and they refer to Sharia governance policy as mentioned here. Okay, no specific or proper framework. Okay, a report to audit committee and Sharia committee and audit report ni dia chief dia akan report kepada Sharia committee. Dalam annual report tu adalah report yang mengguna pakai Sharia audit report. Kalau you tengok annual report bank, akan ada Syariah committee report. How actually Syariah committee come out with their decision is by looking at the findings from all relevant unit in the bank, such as from the risk management, from Sharia review, from Sharia audit. So from all the reports tu, they come up with Sharia committee report yang you tengok dalam annual report. Okay, so for Sharia audit process, I think I will continue in the next class sebab basically dia tak berbeza sangat. Kalau kita tanya practitioners, apa sebenarnya beza audit yang biasa ni dengan Sharia audit? Ya, sebenarnya dia sama sahaja. Prosesnya adalah sama. Buat yang you dah belajar, ada sampling, test of control, substantive test, examinations of documentation and so on, sama. The difference are the objective lah, kan, dengan risk dia lah. Objektif dia yang berbeza. Okay, so any question? I think that information is sufficient for you to guide you in answering the annual report analysis yang relate kepada syariah audit. Saya rasa yang soalan yang banyak susah ni yang berkait dengan governance tu lah. Any question on audit sampai page ni? Ada apa-apa nak tanya?
No, madam.
Okay. I think I'm getting used of ni lah. Dulu rasa macam pelik cakap seorang. Sekarang ni dah biasa dah. Tak tahu you all dengar ke tak. Kita jalan aja. Tapi I hope that you dengar lah. Sebab tak nampak kan. Okay, so I think we stop here for today. You can proceed with your annual report analysis. Dah siap dah ke?
Belum lagi.
Tengah buat, madam.
Okay. Sila sambung. Okay. So I think that's all for today. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, madam.
Waalaikumsalam.
Salam. Thank you, doktor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay.